Okay, so here we are focusing on the Roth IRA case study. Just wanted to reiterate that this was an educational opportunity and not a recommendation or suggesting an expectation or some advice. Before taking any action, please seek the advice of a financial and or a tax professional. Okay. So very often get asked the following question when it comes to a Roth IRA, and the question is it really worth it? You know, what is the benefit? I'm only putting away $6,000. What's the big deal? So let me show you what we did here, just to use this as an example. Okay, so it's 2019 as we're doing this. We're taking you out. So we're starting out at 8. This person that we're using this example for is 30 years old, and we're going to keep that age 30. And we're going to keep changing that. And the person is putting in $500 a month. That would make that $6,000 for the year, which in 2019 is for somebody who's under the age of 50. That is the limit that they can contribute. In the future, that amount may go up, may go down. We're not really sure. And then regarding the annual return, we put it down to 6%. We are not saying that one is going to be getting 6%. We're not saying one is not going to get 6%. In fact, this is Dave Ramsey's website. I really do. I am a smart investor educator through Dave Ramsey. But you know, I love a lot about this calculator. It's nice, it's clean, it's simple, it's laid out well. My only concern, and I'll just mention this, is the text right below the annual return here, where it says, this is the return your investment will generate. We don't know what it will do, right? We're not prophets over time. And then it says, historically, the 30-year return of the S&P, which is a very specific index, S&P 500, has been roughly 12%. And now I see that they added a little number 1 here. That was smart. That wasn't there before. At least I don't think I ever noticed it being there before. So, okay. So the assumptions here is that this person is, going to be making 6%. We're going to keep that even. We're going to keep it flat, even though we do know the reality of investing is that returns do change. We're not predicting this for annual. We're just going to be using this as a baseline just so we can get an idea of the impact here, as well as putting in $500 a month. Okay. Okay. So the person is 30 years old. At age 31, what will they have? So no one really knows when you started contributing it at age 30, and you don't really know when you're taking it out at age 31. So to compensate for that, if you see there's only a 3% growth instead of 6%, that was the annual, because it may be too close. So they're taking a nice conservative approach on that one. So I appreciate that. Not that I don't appreciate most of the things that Dave Ramsey promotes and educates, but let's go back to our case study. Again, this is a case study. This is just an example. And then we're looking 5 years out. Okay, so I'll just do some of these just so you could see what I did here. So 5 years out at 35 years. That will give us 34,885. Okay, so you could do this yourself. You contributed 30,000. It went up by 4,800. You can kind of get an idea of the impact of this. 34,885, 34,885. Okay, so that's what the money grows. So, is it significant? It's only 5 years, but let's go down the line. Let's say we're talking about 20 years out. Okay, how is that going to go? So let's say 20 years out, person's 30. So let's say age 50. Okay. Again, assuming they put in $500 a month, assuming that you're always getting 6% return, but that's pretty significant, right? It's almost doubled here. You're putting in $120,000 over 20 years, and you got back $111,000. Okay. The beauty comes really later on, when you see the power of compounding interest, right? And now the person is 65 years old. So now they have 700. Let's do 35 years. The person's 65 years old. Okay. Assuming they were working all this time, because you can't contribute unless you're working or your spouse is working. Okay, so now you have $712,000. So now this person says, okay, look, in this example, I have enough. Now, you see they contributed $210,000, and there's $502,000 in growth. You see, the impact of compounding interest really starts to take effect the more time you have. So now this person says, look, I have enough money between still working part-time, between my Social Security, whether I decide to take it out or not, and between other savings I have. I'm not going to touch this money. I want it to grow for another 5 more years. Okay, so I'm going to take this out to age 70. It's going to be the earliest point that I'm going to take this out. Now, you may want to take, actually, the Roth IRA, if you don't need to touch it, is actually the best account to hold on to, because the government doesn't force you to take that out at age 70 and a half, which is why from the time that one retires to the time that you turn 70 and a half, that's probably the best window after you seek the advice of a tax professional to consider something called a backdoor Roth. But beyond the scope of this conversation today. So for this individual, they waited till 70. Now they have $995,000. Okay, almost $1 million. So let's flip back. You contributed basically a little less than $250,000, and now you have 3/4 of that coming back to you, and you have $1 million. Okay. So what I wanted to go to is show that you contributed basically 1/4, which is what you did here, and it grew by 3 times that, which is pretty neat. Now, if you were to take out this money, this $995,000, if this was a regular investment, then the government would say, okay, so on this $995,000, you owe us some taxes. You owe us what they call long-term gains. So we're just going to use a round number of about 20%. So you owe us 20%, and that 20% would be on the growth. It's not 20% of your contribution. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So I would owe the government $151,000, assuming I took it all at the same time. Because that $240,000 I contributed, so that's post-tax dollars. So I wouldn't have to pay taxes on that. Okay, so now if I decided to have this money in a of traditional IRA or a 401k, and I took out the $995,000, the government does not differentiate between what I put in and what it grew to. The number is total. So that would make your tax, first of all, it would not be long-term gains. It would be considered income tax. And that tax, let's say for argument's sake, this person had was in a 25% bracket. That person, with that assumption, would be paying 25% on the entire $1 million, on the entire $995,000. So essentially, that person would have to pay $248,000 in taxes. But option example one, 151,000 is on a regular investment. This is long-term gains. Option two is if this was a 401k or a traditional IRA. But since this is a Roth, you could take out the entire $995,745 and pay zero. There is nothing in penalties. There is nothing in taxes that one has to pay as long as this account has been around for at least 5 years. There's nothing that one needs to pay. So that's a huge savings. On the low end, that would be $151,000. On the high end, that could be $250,000. And that's money that's staying with you in your pocket and allowing the balance of your account to continually grow as you take out what you need, right? The point is, hopefully you're not going to take out not going to take out $1 million in one shot. You'll take out what you need, but so much more is being left behind because you're not paying taxes out of the Roth IRA. So that's kind of the overall benefit. I hope I was clear. I could try to have a copy of this in the notes below. I have to work on that. The tool I used, you can go to daveramsey.com and go to his investment calculator. It's daveramsey.com/smartinvestor/investment calculator. I'll try to have this in the link below so that you can get to it. I happen to be at this point one of Dave Ramsey's smart investors, but I think I would like this calculator regardless because I just like the look. I think it's crisp. And what you're seeing here is in this spreadsheet, just the impact of, regularly, having put the money away. Now, the reason why I did it this way is because let's say the person was 50 years old. Okay. So we're saying the individual started out at 30, but let's say the person started out at 50. All right. The game would be different, right? Going to 50 to 65, you now have $145,000 because you only have 15 years of growth. Okay, so that's 5, 10, 15. Okay, you only have 15 years of growth. So you don't benefit. You don't move up because you're older. The reality is time is time. So it just works here because we're extending a 30-year-old's time, and we're showing you the impact of every 5 years, the benefit of continually putting $6,000 away a year and making 6%. Right? These are the assumptions. I'm not changing anything here, but with the same assumptions, if this person was age 50, they're not walking away at age 70 with $1 million. They're walking away at age 70 with $231,000. That is really different than $1 million. So, not sure what the takeaway is. I personally really like the Roth IRA. It's my personal view. The more you could put into the Roth IRA, if it makes sense, if you're able to do it, if you're single, if you have a spouse, you have, a partner, whatever it is, highly encourage it. You see the impact here on a family that puts this money away. It can have a significant impact on your retirement, especially when in retirement, one of the things that we're trying to manage is taxes. All right. Thank you for joining us today. And it was a pleasure connecting with you. And that's basically it. Have an amazing one.